22nd, 2021 regular meeting of council to order at 5 p.m. Mover and seconder, please. Dean, Chris. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Did anyone see anything they want to move from the consent agenda to the regular agenda? I think there's only a Sask water report and an EK water board pumping report, so I can't imagine anybody's too worried about that. Okay, agenda item 2.2, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to adopt the agenda for the February 22nd, 2021 regular meeting of council as presented, and that a copy of this agenda be attached to and form part of the minutes of this meeting. I need a mover and a seconder, please. Randy Geary. All in favor? Thank you. Did anyone see anything that they might have a conflict of interest on the agenda? I don't think there's anything there that's too controversial, so we'll move on. Agenda item 4.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves, whereas the time being 5:01 p.m., that the regular meeting of council be adjourned to a confidential in-camera meeting. Need a mover and a seconder on that one. Rob. All in favor? Carried. Okay. .15 p.m. that the confidential in-camera meeting is concluded and the regular meeting of council is resumed. I need a mover and a seconder, please. Chris and Dean. All in favor? Here, thank you. Agenda item 5.2, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to amend the agenda of the regular meeting of council held February 22nd, 2021 to remove item 7.2, which is the curbside collection RFP. We're also going to remove...
There was no motion.
Oh, there was no motion for that. Okay, that's good. I need a mover and a seconder to remove item 7.2. Randy and Warren. All in favor? Carried. Move on to 6.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to approve as presented the minutes from the February 8th, 2020 regular meeting of council, and that these minutes be attached to and form part of the minutes of this meeting. I need a mover and a seconder for that, please. Rob, Dean. All in favor? Carried. Okay, I will read the motion here that agenda item 7.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to deem the following as Town of Kindersley approved contractors listed in alphabetical order that shall provide the use of heavy equipment on an hourly rental basis under a fixed term unit price for general contractors, maintenance, or emergency services for the period ended April the 1st, 2023. The primary contractors we have are 3D Steaming, Kodiak Energy Services, Concrete Construction Group, TKC Trucking and Picker Service. Secondary contractors are Cullen Contracting, Danson Oilfield Services, Schmitty's Swabbing Ltd. Just to explain the difference in council's view of primary and secondary, the primary contractors are those that have commercial operations within the town of Kindersley, together with buildings, etc. The secondary ones are those that are located outside the boundaries of the town of Kindersley. Kim, would you, Kim is, no.
Departed.
Why have we got this here? Sorry, I had a note on my note that it shouldn't have been there. So that is the motion. I would ask to have a mover and a seconder, please. Gary? Second, Warren? All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
You can call Kim back.
Now we can call Kim back in. Agenda item 7.3, that the council of the town of Kindersley approve the home-based business application HB number 1902 for discretionary use at the residence of 1004 8th Street West on the condition that it complies with the development standards of home-based businesses pursuant to section 4 sub 11 sub 3 1 to 9 of zoning bylaw 0414. On the condition that the applicant obtains a business license from the town prior to operation on every year of operation, and that if any of the conditions outlined above are not met for this proposed home-based business, then the permit may not be approved and or may be revoked. Deputy Administrator Kim, can you just speak on that a bit, please?
Sure. So we received a discretionary use application from Taylor Rye for Oak and Grace Beauty. So this is located at 1004 8th Street West. We did send out the normal notice to the 75-meter radius around that residence. In this case, we actually did get some inquiries, probably 3 or 4 actually, but none of them were negative towards the company, anything in that nature. They are meeting all of our requirements within our zoning bylaw. So at this time, we don't see any reason why we wouldn't move forward with a recommendation to approve her discretionary use application.
Any questions, council? If not, could I have a mover and a seconder for the motion then, please? Chris? Second, Gary? All in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, agenda item 7.4, that the council of the town of Kindersley resolves to approve as presented the 2020 to 2024 council strategic plan as may be amended from time to time, and that this strategic plan shall supersede all others before it, and that this plan be attached to and form part of the minutes of this meeting. Audrey, perhaps we should speak on this a little bit.
Sure.
I can carry on after you finish.
Okay, sure. So this is the strategic plan. We've been working on it for January up to today. Keeping it similar to what you had in your last strategic plan with regards to building the bridges, the start spending and making it happen. And so in the building bridges, we have improved medical care through physician recruitment and retention and increased medical services. So I know the mayor works with the health, the region, the Saskatchewan Health, and so we'll work on trying to improve that area in the town of Kindersley. And then also to team up and work with the Kindersley Chamber of Commerce to attract businesses and franchise, to attract business professionals such as new lawyers, those type of people into the community, and just attract other career opportunities. Then we did the smart spending, which we have in there is a long-term financial plan, and within that long-term financial plan, those will be brought into establishing fiscally sound annual budgets. We did keep in being transparent and accountable. That was the same as what was in your previous strategic plan. It's always something that every council strives to continue to do. Again, make sound decisions was also carried over. And then we've also added to continue to improve local infrastructure such as our roadways, water and sewer, and facilities. So, continue the plan which is also in your long-term financial plans, to keep, redoing roads, water and sewer lines, those sort of things. And then under Make It Happen, we had to revitalize the downtown core. And I'm assuming working probably with your Downtown Merchants Association there. Promote Main Street infrastructure improvements through tax incentives. That hasn't been brought to you yet, but we will bring something forward to see what can be done with that. Construct 13th Avenue drainage pond, the Motherwell Reserve Development, which we have in this budget. It'll probably be a 2-3 year project. Enhancement of local parks and green spaces, complete the Wall of Champions at the West Central Event Center, and promote local tourism and staycations. So this is what was all brought forward by you to work on for your next 4-year term.
Thanks, Audrey. Yeah, and I just to expand on that a little bit, 4 years ago when we started out, we sat down and spent a fair bit of time coming up with a similar type publication, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. We had some pretty specific goals in it, and I think it worked so well. We ticked off the boxes on that, and by the time we got to our 4th year, we just about had everything done, and it was an ambitious money spending type of goals that we had then. We're certainly a lot less aggressive in that right now. There's not to say that this can't change. I have been working and meeting regularly with the president of the Chamber of Commerce, and just recently Anna and I did a video that I think is going to be at least some of it will be included in their publications, I believe. I think we've got some good ideas. We did do some canvassing of the public to try and see what their ideas were. I think that probably far and away the greatest concern was medical. I can't say as I disagree. I don't think, it may not be quite as bad as some people think it is. It is difficult with this COVID right now. I'm just hoping that we carry on and get these vaccines so that we can get our whole community back to some semblance of normal. And right now we do have 5 doctors at the clinic. 2 of them are very new within the last month. 3 have been here for a while. It's a difficult process. I've had conversations with the rural health minister. We have a meeting coming up here in the next 30 days where we will be discussing things further on services here, etc. It's just we're not alone with our problems in the medical end of things. It's a provincial, and not only a provincial, it's a federal issue. There just is a shortage of doctors right throughout Canada, I think it's fair to say. Some of the things that we want to make happen, I'm hoping that we are going to be able to solve our 13th Avenue drainage problems that we've had for years there. Fortunately, the last few years we haven't had a huge amount of snow, but this year has kind of got us moving. But we do have the contractor on site right now, just trying to get organized to get that done. The Main Street, as I did with Anna the other day, I've been very pleased. There's 2 or 3 new businesses that have opened, either are opening or will be opening shortly on Main Street. So I think it's a step in the right direction. It's always a challenge, but we are seeing some movement in that regard. That's about all. I think Audrey has covered some of the goals we have. Council, did you have anybody have any thoughts that you'd like to inject at this time? Councillor Becker.
Like Mayor Perkins said, we did spend fairly heavily last term and we sort of wanted to dial it down a bit. But, yeah, I think one of our main focus is hopefully the dam area. We've talked about it lots, and maybe redo those trails, the walking trails, and possibly a beach area. There is grants out there, whether we get them or not, but we'll decide probably to the extent we do it. But yeah, it'll be a little toned down this term, but more focus on keeping taxes in line and not having to raise them, and just keeping on, I guess.
Yep. Seeing none, could I have a mover and a seconder for the motion then? Dean? Randy? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. You have to look that far. Agenda item 8.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to accept as submitted the list of accounts as paid by the Town of Kindersley in the amount of $426,350.24, and that a copy of said accounts be attached to and form part of the minutes of this meeting. CAO Audrey, did you get any queries?
I did not, to my knowledge, no.
Does anybody have any queries now they would like to throw out on any of these accounts? Don't think there's anything too unusual. Payroll remittances are pretty normal. Power, SAMA, I guess, was a big bill this month. That's for our municipal assessment. One-shot deal. Water treatment plant. And school tax remittances. No, nothing too unusual. Could I have a mover and a seconder to pay these accounts? Councillor Anderson, Councillor Becker, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay. Some reading now. That the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to approve the first reading of bylaw 02-21, being a bylaw of the Town of Kindersley to regulate the clearing of snow, ice, and any other debris from public sidewalks and roadways. Kim, would you like to comment on this before I start calling the motions?
Sure. So bylaw 0221, it will replace bylaw 1417. So this is our snow clearing bylaw. The area that we changed within the bylaw is actually section 6, clause 4. We went into more detail with the different zones within the community. So before we just talked about residential zones and commercial, or residential areas and commercial areas. And now we have it broken into 4 separate areas, and we have the residential, so that's our R1, R2, R3, and R4 zones. So this is just talking about when people are clearing snow, like for instance, for the residential areas, they'd be clearing it off their driveways and making piles or mounds of snow. And what we're saying is that it should not exceed 2 meters in height. And also we've added that it shouldn't be within 7 1/2 meters of a roadway or adjacent property. So we want them to not put it, I guess, against their fence where it's going to go into their neighbor's yard, or it's not going to cause site issues for traffic. So that's why it should be away from a roadway. And then we have residential areas in the RA zone. So an RA zone is our residential acreage zone. So obviously they have a larger land mass. So their height requirement is that it should not exceed 3 meters in height. And again, we still have the 7 1/2 meter from the roadway or adjacent property that they should keep it away from. And then commercial areas, so this is the C1, C2, C3, C4, and C5 zones. We have the 2 meter height requirement. We also are asking or saying that it should be removed within 48 hours. And we do have, if these properties have an approved underground storm drainage system, then they would be exempt from this. So, for instance, if they have drainage within their parking lot, some of the larger commercial businesses may, and so they would be exempt from the height requirement, but they would still, all their piles should still be away from the 7.5 meters away from the roadway or adjacent properties. And then industrial areas, we actually don't have the height requirement, but we just have that they need to be 7.5 meters away from roadway and adjacent properties. So they shouldn't be butted up against their neighbor, not against fence lines. Definitely within this bylaw, it also states that for the industrial areas, they shouldn't be putting their snow on public property as well, which means the drainage ditches. The drainage ditches, we want to keep that there for basically when we have our spring thaw, we have an area for the water to run, and if we have everybody piling all their snow within the drainage ditch, it's going to cause us some issues when spring hits. So I think that's the majority of the changes that we made within the bylaw. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions on that, Council? I think we've been through this a couple times already. Seeing none, I would ask that a mover and a seconder for the motion. Warren, Andy, all in favor? We're going to get to do this 3 more times. 9.1B, that the Council of Town of Kindersley resolves to approve the second reading of bylaw 0221. I need a mover and a seconder for that. Rob, seconding. All in favor? 9.1C, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to approve that 3 readings be given to bylaw 0321 at the February 22nd, 2021 regular meeting of Council. Mover and seconder again, please. Chris? Chris? Warren? All in favor? Carried. 9.1D, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to approve that bylaw 0221, being a bylaw of the Town of Kindersley to regulate the clearing of snow, ice, and other debris, any other debris from public sidewalks and roadways be read a 3rd time and hereby be approved, and that the approved copy of this bylaw be attached to and form part of these minutes. Mover and seconder, please. Warren, Dean. All in favor? Carried. Agenda item 10.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to approve the consent agenda, which includes the following items for acceptance and filing, which, as I mentioned before, SAS Water Operational Report for January and EK Water Board Pumping Report for January. No questions on that. I'd have a mover and a seconder, please. Rob, Gary, all in favor? Thank you. Agenda item 11.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves, whereas the time being 7:35 p.m., that the regular meeting of Council be adjourned to a confidential in-camera meeting to review previously circulated items. I need a mover and a second. Randy, second. Warren, all in favor? I know, figurehead. I'm the figurehead talker. Okay, any business arising from the in-camera session of council? If not, we'll move on to 14.1, that the Council of Town of Kindersley resolves that all business having been concluded, the February 22nd, 2021 regular meeting of the council be adjourned at 8:53 p.m. Mover and seconder. Bob and Warren. All in favor?